Hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes and getting likes, hitting dingers, and getting listeners. This is your only Brewers Daily podcast. We are back again talking Brewers baseball, Brewers victory baseball. It's always sweet to be talking a victory on a Tuesday, even if it took 11 innings. But for that, let's talk about the podcast. You can find us every day, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Apple Podcasts, you name it, YouTube. Find us on Twitter, Miller Minute on Twitter. If you want to get some seats for an upcoming game, any event, use the code Miller Park Minute at SeatGeek, and we'll save you $20 on your first order. So, if you want to support this podcast in any other way, you can go on over to patreon.com/MillerParkMinute and drop some support for the channel. It would be much appreciated. Or you could like or subscribe or rate and review on your favorite podcast platform. That being said, let's get into tonight's action. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of tonight's game. Then we're going to talk about news around the league and cover some scores. We'll see what we got time for in tonight's episode. So that being said, the Brewers got a victory tonight in extras. 6-5 and 11, moving the Brewers to 13-5, first place in the NL Central. Still your reigning NL Central division leaders, beating the Mariners in our second straight game against the Mariners. So it was an interesting game all the way around. Started out with a Christian Yelich home run. So we did take the series now. So this road trip has been rather productive for the crew. We've taken the series now from the Mariners. Took the series from the Rays. Good stuff all the way across the board. So let's get into the good, the bad, the downright ugly. The good is actually going to be Christian Yelich tonight. I know he rounds up the bad a lot of nights, and that's okay. But tonight he was 3 for 5. He had a homer, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Also good was Willy 2 for 5, homer, double, 3 runs score, 3 RBIs, and a run scored. So the bad here is going to go to the Garrett Mitchell injury that caused Garrett Mitchell to be pulled. There was an ugly slide that happened. He was called safe, but it was after review. But he just stretched kind of funny, and then on the next inning, he made a throw, and it was very apparent he was injured, and very apparent he was hurt. So with Garrett Mitchell's skills and abilities as a player, I don't want to see this happen. Could we call up Sal Frelick? Sure. But you don't wish that to happen. That being said, let's move into the box. We'll talk about the downright ugly in just a moment here, but let's highlight some things. Jesse Winker had an offer tonight. He's still battling. I don't know if he's still battling that injury from the oblique, but he's out there battling. There was one at bat for William Contreras, did not get on. We talked about Willy 2 for 5. Rowdy had an offer. Anderson had an offer in 5 at bats. Mitchell also had an offer. Brasso, did he register? No, he didn't register an official at bat. He was just subbed in at the end. Caratini 0 for 4. Turing 0 for 3. Did have a walk today. Miller 1 for 3. And Weimer again 0 for. Just an ugly game across. the board. Most of their hitting production came from two people, that being excuse me, Christian Yelich and Willy Adames. Good to see those two doing well. Not a fan of that. But downright ugly is the fact that nobody else outside of those two had a hit. I mean, a meaningful one at that. Ray looked okay, allowed 5 hits, 4 runs, of which 4 were earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He held us in this thing, so that's what you need out of spot start Union, hold you in the game. Milner was scoreless for 1 1/3. Piams was scoreless for 2/3. Bush went a scoreless inning with 3 strikeouts. See, I told you Bush wasn't that bad. Williams scoreless, of course, about a walk and 3 strikeouts. Bryce Wilson gave up the game, but then saved the game, so got the win in this one. And that's how baseball works. Pitched 2 innings. Looked about like it was about to be over again when he loaded the bases in the 11th, but he pulled through. Winning's winning, as Vin Diesel said. So doesn't matter if you win by an inch or lose by an inch. We won the game at the end of the day. So I know that's ugly, but it is what it is, guys. We won this one. And what isn't there to say about baseball? I mean, like, pretty awesome stuff. Now, let's go over to our friends at Trade Rumors, because there's a couple things I want to talk about. Let's first go to the team. Just head on over to our Milwaukee Brewers and take a look over there. We got JB Bukowska, I believe is how it's pronounced. He's claimed off waivers. He was designated for assignment by Seattle last week to make room for Bukauskas. Sorry, that was terrible. On their 40-man rosters, the Brewers transferred Luis Urias to the 60-day injured list. So it looks like Urias is not coming back. Looks like he had some injury last year. He's going to start with Nashville. Just another arm move, really. That's what it comes down to. Just another arm. All right, so here's the big pop, the big news that I wanted to talk about. Rob Manfred is expressing support for a limit on contract extension length. Tony Clark calls that a non-starter for MLBPA. So basically what they're saying is that, and what they're trying to address is the fact that if a team has a player, they can manipulate and extend a contract to as long as they want. You know, if you've got, let's just use the example of Corbin Burns, say the Brewers or even Willy Adames. Say they wanted to extend Corbin or Willy 6 years. Other owners are saying that's unfair. I'm not really kind of understanding where they're coming from with this, because a lot of these owners don't want to sign players to long-term deals in the first place. But they're basically saying they want to limit the number of years that they can give out on these long-term deals. They don't want these 10-year, $300 million deals going out. And it goes without saying that the Players Association and the players are going to be against that. This is all part of them like trying to control the spending and stuff like that. I guess this one I will spend more time on. I will have to read. Tony Clark said the public statement from Manfred about the owner's desire to limit guaranteed contracts is just one in a series of statements attacking fundamental aspects of baseball's free agent market system, the freedom of clubs and players to structure deals in the best interest of all parties. Clark told Evan Drellick. The ability of an individual club to act as their own self-interest to determine how to best put an exciting product on the field for fans is something that shouldn't be restricted. Anyone who believes that players would ever endorse an assault by management on a guaranteed contract is badly mistaken. Yeah, so basically saying it's kind of an insult, and I don't disagree. Um, Even coming as a small market fan, I don't disagree that if we drafted Christian Yelich and signed him and extended him for 10 years, 15 years, that's our right and our I think that's what holds some of these players in these organizations. Look at Mike Trout. Mike Trout's been in a bad organization and been the best player in baseball. Mike Trout's as happy as can be. They're citing contracts like Aaron Judge, Xander Bogaerts, Yu Darvish, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Fernando Tatis Jr. Of course, they're just citing a lot of these longer contracts, and I guess I don't see the issue. I really don't. Um, Reds have extended Hunter Green. That's kind of cool. Good for him. Hunter Green is their best player, their best pitcher. So hopefully they can compete sometime in his career. Oh yeah, I think they're just trying to give themselves a shot to hopefully get a better draft class. I don't blame them. Basically, the extensions when they're in the arbitration process are paying them and giving them guaranteed money so they don't have to go through the arbitration process. That's what they did with Willy. That's what they did with Aaron Ashby. Or I'm sorry, Freddie. That's what they did with Aaron Ashby. They could do it with Willy if they wanted to. So they're testing out some new rules. Here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about today. They're testing out some new designated pinch runner. More rule changes in the Atlantic League. So, Major League Baseball implemented several rule changes this season that drastically shorten length of games. The league will test several other potential alterations this season in the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. The Atlantic League of Professional Baseball will experiment with the use of designated pinch runner, a single disengagement per at bat for pitchers, and the double hook designated hitter rule, as Lindsay Adler of the Wall Street Journal relayed. Designated pitch runner. Each club will list a player who is not otherwise in the starting lineup as a designated pinch runner. That player may then be substituted at any point into a game as a base runner. The player who is substituted for, as well as the pinch runner, may then return to the game without penalty. That's a weird one. Single disengagement per bat, unlike the new MLB rule, which allows a pitcher to disengage from the pitch rubber twice during an at-bat. The Atlantic legal test will permit only a single disengagement per at-bat. The double hook DH allows clubs to use designated hitter throughout the game, provided the club's starting pitcher has completed at least 5 innings. So if the starter fails to make it through the fifth, the club then loses the DH for the remainder of the game. Okay. So we give us the DH and then we take away the DH. So then you're just gonna work through your that is wrong on all kinds of levels. I hope that one doesn't go through. Double hook DH. I love it. Gotta make it difficult. They gotta make it difficult. That one I just don't understand. Webb signed a $90 million deal with the Giants extension through 2028. Utah is eyeing an MLB expansion team. Pablo Lopez nearing $73.5 million extension. Ian Happ gets a $61 million extension. I think every team is in on Shohei Ohtani, so they trades to shift the balance of power in 2023. And they got a picture of Corbin Burns, so you know we're going to look at it. Lance Lynn to the Cardinals, Gleyber Torres to the Yankees. Or to the Dodgers, I'm sorry. Corey Kluber to Baltimore. Ryan Reynolds to Houston. Corbin Burns to the Toronto Blue Jays. Come on. Ian Happ to the New York Yankees. Shohei Ohtani to the New York Mets. All very interesting, but maybe I just don't want to see them as probable at this point. Average salary in MLB is up 11% this year. The suspension was finally official for Randon. He did get 4 games for that fight in Oakland. Manfred just shouldn't talk. Cronenworth got an $80 million extension. Reynolds is looking to get closer to a deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates as well. So, Ohtani linked to the Dodgers, $600 million. Surprise, surprise. All right, let's talk about the league and what's actually happening. So exactly a century later, Ohtani follows Ruth with a home run at Yankee Stadium. Let's read it. That one's important. Exactly 100 years ago, on Tuesday, that old Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built, opened its doors in the Bronx. Babe Ruth, baseball's last true two-way superstar, christened the ballpark with an opening day homer. It was only fitting that a century later, the game's only two-way play phenom, Shohei Ohtani, crushed a 2-run homer in the first inning across the street at the new Yankee Stadium to lead the Angels to a 5-2 win in the series opener. Ohtani went 1 for 3, also swiped his first bag of the season, giving him his 15th career game with a homer and a stolen base. I knew it was the 100th anniversary, but I didn't know Babe homered, Ohtani said to an interpreter. I don't know the interpreter. I can't pronounce that. It's a beautiful field with passionate fans. I always look forward to playing here and have fun playing here. That's so cool. So cool how history is coming back and Trier matches. Braves great in club's 8th straight victory. No, 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 no. But a confidence boost for the White Sox. You won't believe how hard Berger hit his home run. Still heating up. Just scary. Vlad goes Oppo in the win. And Mookie Betts is set to add MLB shortstop to his resume. Clayton Kershaw dominated the Mets to become the 4th active pitcher with 200 career wins and joined the illustrious group of players. Alex Verdugo hit a walk-off single. Lots of good stuff happening in baseball today. But that is the episode, guys. That's what we got. Check real quick if there's any kind of update on the injury to our guy, Garrett Mitchell, before we round it out. Does not look like it. Looks like there's an optimistic outcome. Burns isn't really hurting as much today, so we're going to play it by ear. He's going to throw his bullpen on Thursday or Friday and see where he goes. So we're going to be day to day in the minor pec strain of Corbin Burns. All right, guys, that has been it for the Miller Park Minute tonight. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and as always, go Brew Crew. Let's get the sweep. Get the brooms out, baby.